I'm a hustler, man. I'm always get it off the muscle, man. Tryna make them hundreds bust the rubber bands. Rain, sleet, hell or snow, I'm tryna get it in. Woo! I go door to door, stacking up them dollars like dominoes. I go door to door.
Hustlers, hustlers, hustlers. What's cracking? It's your boy Deshaun. Welcome back to another episode of Roof Hustlers, baby, where we tackle all your daily door-to-door objections, rejections, and we teach you guys how to make connections, man. Because if you ain't creating genuine customer connections, building better customer relationships, and providing premier customer service, then you know, like I know, guys, you ain't making a difference in your wallet or the community, baby. And that's what we do over here at Roof Hustlers, man. Help you guys go from average to good, from good to great. Always keeping food on your plate, baby. Because if you do what I do, you know it's a jungle out here. So we just stepped into the third quarter, guys. And I just want to tell you this before we jump into today's episode. A weak third quarter gonna give you a struggling fourth quarter. And the third quarter got so many variables, guys. It's summertime, kids out of school, vacation, all of this stuff. Don't let that distract you from the yearly goals. So I just want to cover that before we jump into today's episode. Now, what is today's episode about, right? I want to talk to you guys about the power in selling perspectives, right? I was just training this past weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina. Shout out to Master Roofing. And a lot of those guys was like, man, you're so good at getting people to say yes. You're so good at, getting people to move. And I say, well, the difference between me and you guys is y'all sell roofs. And they was like, what? What you mean? Don't you sell roofs? I said, nah, I sell perspectives. I like to give people a new way to think, a new way to view what we do. And I've learned when you learn how to sell people perspectives, they take action. Why? Because it's new insight. It's novel information versus the same old, you need a roof, this, and that. So what I want to cover with you guys today is the power in selling perspectives, right? And I took some notes for you guys. I don't want to chop up the information, so I'm going to be reading from a paper, so I'm just letting y'all know. Y'all know how I usually get down, but I want to give you a heads up, right? So let's talk about the power of selling perspectives. Now, what is perspective, okay? Perspective is taking what you know, think, and experience and using it to create a distinctive point of view. So taking what you know, think, and experience and using it to create a distinctive point of view, right? So I want to give you guys some statistics. Based off the CSO Insight 2018 Buyer Preference Study, homeowners said 2/3 of salespeople fail to distinguish themselves. 2/3. So out of two people that go to that door, three people that go to the door, two of them are failing to distinguish themselves from the other sellers, right? So let me give you some more statistics. That same one, CSO Insight 2018 Preference Study said, perspective provides your homeowner with education and insight beyond product and services. And it says, organizations who learn to sell with perspective increase their chance to win the sale by 12%. And those who've mastered the art of selling with perspective increase the chances of winning the sale by 23%. So that's a total of 32% higher chance of winning the sale when you learn how to sell with perspective, right? And understand, right? Customers buy outcomes, not products. So perspective is the art of opening the prospect eyes to new possible outcomes. So your prospect buying the outcome, not your product or services. And a lot of y'all's going to the door, you still trying to sell your product or your services. And that's what's stopping you from getting your homeowners to that next level. And understand, most people go to the door and they identify a problem based on knowledge and experience, then you sell a solution. And that's, believe it or not, that's what's slowing down your sales process. You move too fast for the pace of the buyer's thinking and their buying process. So you go into the door, you identifying a problem, and then you jumping straight to a solution. You haven't given them a new perspective. You haven't given them a new way of viewing what we do. So they're not willing to take that next step because they can't visualize the outcome. They just going based off what you're telling them because you're just trying to sell them a roof, guys. Understand, it's not the quality of your product or services that wins, but the quality of the insight that you deliver to your prospect. So understand, guys, that's the power of selling perspectives. Perspective selling is the differentiator in the marketplace. So when you become that salesman that know how to sell perspective, you start to differentiate yourself in the marketplace. Why? Because everybody else just selling product and services, what we can do for you, this and that. But when you selling perspectives, that's allowing people to visualize the outcome, put themselves in that driver's seat, and now they willing to solve their own problem because you gave them a new perspectives, right? So I got a little bit more information for you guys before I give you what I use to sell perspectives. Also, perspective, what does it do? It triggers the mental process of visualizing the outcome. We as human beings, we think in pictures, right? We think in pictures, we visualize things. So a lot of you guys are trying to word your homeowner to death versus allowing them to picture what you're saying so it makes more sense to them. So they say, that makes sense, and they decide to take some action, right? So that's just a little bit of information about perspectives and what it can do for you, and how you should be using it and how it makes you a differentiator in the marketplace. So now what I want to do for you guys is give you 3 examples of how I like to sell perspectives when dealing with my homeowners. All right, so here's the 3 perspectives that I like to use when I'm out there knocking doors, selling to my homeowners. Because what's the hardest part about what we do? Getting people to say yes to the inspection. Because typically if they have damage, it's a lot easier to move them to that next step, which is getting the ball rolling, filing a claim, and getting the insurance company to pay for it. But most of us can't get our homeowners past that initial threshold of just saying yes to the inspection, right? So I want to give you 3 examples. I'm going to give y'all some gems, right? Some money-making gems that you can use when you're out there knocking doors, right? The first perspective that I sell, it's the car insurance perspective. So here we go. I knock on the door, homeowner come out. He say, yeah, let's say a house got missing shingles or visible damage, right? And they say, nah, man, we good. We'll worry about it later. And I always like to tell my homeowners, well, let me ask you a question, right? You see that beautiful car in your driveway? And most of them say, yeah. Let me ask you a question. If you was on the highway and somebody just hit you, you got a little fender bender, what would you do? And most homeowners typically gonna say, well, I will call my insurance company. I say, exactly, right? Because that's what you're paying for, to help you out in the event that somebody damages your car. I say, you see those missing shingles up on your roof? That's equivalent to a fender bender. Now let me ask you a question. Which one you think more valuable, your car or your home? And most people are gonna answer that question very logically, right? They're gonna say my home, all right? And I'm gonna say, well, let's get your insurance company on the line and let them know about the fender bender that done happened to your home. That's selling them a new perspective. They could visualize that outcome, because we all know if somebody hit your car, you don't hesitate to call your insurance company. So I'm combining those 2 perspectives, right? Letting those 2 stories connect to each other. So now they got a new perspective. They could visualize the outcome of like, right, somebody hit my car, do call my insurance company. Wow, these missing shingles like fender benders. Let me get in contact with my insurance company, right? So that's the first way. That's the first example that I use perspective when it comes to selling these homeowners. The second one I use when it comes to selling perspective, I call this one the oil change perspective, right? So I knock on the door, say, hey, we out here doing free inspections. And people are like, nah, man, we good. We don't need anything. I say, yeah, I completely understand. Can I ask you a quick question? And they say, yeah, what's that? I say, you see that car up front? They say, yeah. I say, let me ask you a question. How often do you get oil changes? And what do you think most people say? They're gonna say, well, at least once a month. I say, right? Because that's what you got to do to maintenance your vehicle and keep it performing at top tier shape, right? That's how you get your vehicle to perform. You got to get an oil change. If not, it'll break down, right? They say, yeah. I say, well, your house is the same. You should get an inspection at least once a year or once every 6 months. That's equivalent to you getting an oil change on your vehicle. So we here today, we just offering a free inspection, don't cost you a dime. It's equivalent to you getting that oil change. But you know the difference? You don't got to pay us $100 for this inspection. So I'll go grab my ladder, get up there and see what you got going on. All right, that's another perspective change. Because they like, wow, I do got to maintenance my vehicle once a month to keep it up in top tier shape so it don't break down on me. I probably should get my roof assessed once a year or once every 6 months to make sure that my roof is in good shape. So that's the second perspective that I sell to my homeowners, the oil change perspective. If you're getting the oil change for your vehicle once a month, you should be getting a roof inspection once a year or once every 6 months. So that's another perspective that I sell. And then the third and final perspective that I use when it comes to my homeowners to change their perspective, to have them, give them a different view on what we do, right? I do the, hey, let me ask you a question. I've been doing this for about 7 years now. You want to know one thing I've learned? And they say, what? I say, I've learned that homeowners save for vacation, they save for college, They save for cars. They save for Christmas. They save for all of these things. You want to know one thing that they don't save for? And they're going to say, what? I say a roof. I say, you know what you do instead? They say, what? I say, you pay an insurance company for 20 years. And if you took that money, you was paying them a premium every year, and you put that in the savings account, you would have enough money to get your roof done today. But you don't. You pay that insurance company that premium for the next 20 years. You pretty much paid for a roof twice since you've been living in this home. So why not give me a chance to check out the roof to see if you got some damage so we can actually get them out here to do what they're supposed to do, because that's why you've been paying them for 20 years, to take care of you in the event that you have something going on. Because if not, like I said, you will have the money stashed away, ready to move forward with your roof. We was just in North Carolina this past weekend, and I used that perspective on the lady, and she said, you're absolutely correct. I have not been saving for my roof. And she was like, well, go ahead and get up there and check it out for me. Let me know what you find. Why? Because I gave her a new way to view what we do. So those are 3 perspectives that I use to sell on my homeowners, right? First one is the car insurance perspective, right? If you got a fender bender, you're gonna call your insurance company. These missing shingles, equivalent to a fender bender, right? Second one, the oil change perspective. You get your car oil change once a month. You should be getting a roof inspection once a year, once every 2 months. And last but not least, the saving perspective, right? You don't save up for a roof. You pay an insurance company, so it's their job to take care of you in the event that there's some damage. So guys, those are some great examples of selling with perspectives. And I challenge you guys to be a part of that 32% of salespeople who sell with perspectives, because you got a higher chance of winning the deal. And you get to use my gems. You can create your own perspectives. You can create your own similes, metaphors, whatever you got to do. But you need to start giving your homeowners different visualizations so they can start picturing the outcomes versus steady trying to sell them product and services. When you sell them perspectives, they can visualize that, and there's a higher chance that they'll want to solve their own problem. So if you found value out of the day, guys, please do us a favor. Leave us some comments down in the comment box. We do pay attention to those. If there's any topics you want us to cover on Roof Hustlers, shoot us an email over at roofhustlers@gmail.com. Make sure you follow us on the Instagram at Roof Hustlers, TikTok, Roof Hustlers. Make sure you join the Facebook page, the Roof Hustlers Facebook page, guys. And if you want your copy of the Hustler's Guide to Door to Door, make sure you shoot us an email. We'll get you a free copy of one of those, man. So it's always a pleasure kicking it with you hustlers, man. I always enjoy showing up, giving you information that you could take, implement, and maximize your game and improve your income. And as always, baby, hustle hard, hustle smart, and don't be afraid to bogart. Hustlers, I'm out.